Good day to you. Perfect day to talk about some conversation analysis. Conversation analysis is a science, a way of looking at conversation. And I learned a little bit about it when I was studying communication. Today I want to think about how conversation analysis can be used in the language classroom. So if you're someone who enjoys thinking about communication, or you're trying to learn a language, I think this is a great way for you to put some things in perspective. Check it out. Conversation analysis, I'm gonna go this way. Conversation analysis is basically looking at categorizing the things that we say, utterances, into different actions. And this can be a little confusing, but the question is, when you say this thing, what are you doing? Cool. One of my favorite examples of this is the action of greeting. If what you're doing is greeting, what are some examples of utterances that fall into that category? Perfect example of this is hello. This is probably the first word that you learn when you're learning English, and maybe the first action that you learn when you're studying any language for the first time. Greeting. Hello. Now you might think, all right, well, there's some other things that you can say. Ha, there you go. Those are other utterances. Hello, hi, good morning. I said earlier, good day. These are all good examples of greetings. Because you're looking at it as an action, you're not limited by the grammar or the words. You're looking at the action. How do you do that? Hello does greeting, but so does what's up. What's interesting about that is what's up is actually a question. Grammatically, what's up is a question. So that can confuse some people, some English learners in this case. What's up? I feel like they gotta answer it. Watch out now. Watch your head. What's the most native American English thing to say? How you doing? That one's interesting. How you doing? And you'll often see it in the workplace, for example, right? Native speakers of English. How you doing? How you doing? No answer, no nothing. Just how you doing? That is the greeting. And what I like about this, it frees you, it liberates you. It liberates you to find your voice. What is the greeting that you want to say? Right? Now you look at a textbook, the answer is hello. Come on, man. You got a lot more options than that. Hello, you got a lot more options than that. In fact, it doesn't even need to be language. You can know what I'm doing just from human interaction and communication. You can simply say, Kling-san, Dorfy. Doesn't matter what I'm saying. You know what I'm doing. Well, I gave you some gestures, right? But you know what I'm doing. So if you're trying to learn a target language and a target culture, pay attention. How do people do this thing? Not what are they saying, which is also interesting. What are they doing? How do you do that? What could you do? Yeah. Oh, cool. Look at that bird. Oh, don't fly away. I didn't even get to say hi. Dorfy.